Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, you are all welcome to today's Srimad Bhagavatam class, where we will be discussing of an ultimate medicine. Hare Krishna. Please join us for Jai Radha Madhav prayers. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari, Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari, Yashodanandana Brajana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Brajana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So today we will be hearing about a miraculous Aushadhi, a cure for all kind of lamentations, all kind of anxieties, all kind of fearfulness and all kind of delusions that constantly surround us and make our condition very dangerous. And what is that? Oral reception. So yes, we will be covering this specific verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. This is Srimad Bhagavatam in the very first canto, the 7th chapter, the 7th verse, is where Sutta Goswami is revealing as to how by oral reception we can get freedom from all these, and not just that they are driven away, though they are burned to ashes. So that is the ultimate cure, elimination, not reduction. It's not like pain banishment. So we will be discussing more. Please join us. Devi has already shared the link I saw to Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 1, Verse 7. Yasyam vais Shruyamanayam Krishne Param Purushe Bhaktirutpadyate Pumsa Shoka Moho Bhayapaha. So again, please join us for Mangalachan prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiriyet. Shravatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtanaha Hridayantasto Hyavrddani Vidunoti Suhasatam Nashta Prayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatir Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhakti Nashtiki. Hare Krishna. Please join us again in the recitation of this verse, Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st Canto, Chapter 7, verse 7. Yasyam vai shruyamanayam Krishne paramapurushe bhaktirutpajate pumsaha shoka moha bhayapaha. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Simply by giving oral reception to this Vedic literature, the feeling of loving devotional service to Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, sprouts up at once to extinguish the fire of lamentation, illusion and fearfulness. Which literature is being talked about? Yes, Gantra Srimad Bhagavatam. So, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, Bhagavatir Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhakti Nashtiki. And all kind of anarthas are destroyed. So, Hare Krishna. So, please comment. What is that aushadhi? What is that blessing? What is that miracle that can give us freedom from all kind of anxieties, all kind of lamentations, all kind of illusions and all kind of fearful states, completely eradicating them. Hare Krishna. Please join us for Guru Pranati. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshtarine Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakhaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripa tadaham vande Shri Gurum Deenataranam. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Dear devotees, Aushadhi, medicine. When we hear about medicine, it is very interesting. All we have to do is take it as per prescription. Do we have to know what is the chemical composition of that medicine? So many of us have this experience. We go to the doctor, ask for the, discuss our symptoms. The doctor understands, identifies what kind of sickness we have, and then he gives a specific medicine for that sickness. And what we do? Do we ask the doctor, what is the chemical composition? After it mixes with my saliva, it will go to my stomach. How will it be dissipated? What all chemicals will get generated? My body will generate what chemicals? Before I know, this has become a long story. We don't care about all that stuff. That is for the doctor to take care. We simply take the medicine with the proper understanding, with the proper prescription. Yes, you have to take this medicine every morning and every evening after your meal. Doctor says that, yes, we do that, take that. If he says, okay, take 2 tablets, then we make sure that we take 2 tablets. So again, all we have to do is follow the instruction, and that is how we take things that are prescribed. So for Srimad Bhagavatam, Gantra Srimad Bhagavatam, oral reception is important. Now, do we have to understand, become an expert in Sanskrit to really understand what Srimad Bhagavatam is? Well, Acharyas, they have made this literature very easy for us. Srila Prabhupada translated Srimad Bhagavatam in English, making it very easy for English-speaking people. He made it very easy for Hindi-speaking people. It has also been translated in various regional languages, just like Bhagavad Gita, which has also been translated into over 80 languages. And we can easily get it in our native language, and we can attain perfection by following. So here, in this particular chapter, what is the medicine? Please, if you know what that medicine is to get free from illusion, anxieties, fearfulness and delusion and lamentation, please write it in the comments. Now, when I talked about that, you don't have to understand this. In this regard, I am also reminded by a sweet pastime. So again, this is with respect to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada revealed that in the beginning days, in the early days, when he was going and hearing the lectures on Srimad Bhagavatam by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada, at that time, many times he would just sit sincerely, erect, and he would try to pay attention to what his Guru Maharaj is saying. And he actually, in his humble state, accepts that, in the beginning, he could not understand what was being said, the message fully. Of course, the Aushadhi, the medicine was still working. Yet at this, and when Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, he understood that Srila Prabhupada is sitting sincerely, so he said that he is very sincere, so he is getting the maximum effect. So he revealed, he actually blessed Srila Prabhupada. So this is the blessing. Lord's mercy flow through his devotees. And so we sincerely hear to what Acharyas have said. We sincerely read, which is also in the category of Sravanam, as to what Acharyas have said. And so, by reading Nityam Bhagavate Sevaya, every day we should read one verse. If you can't read one verse, at least read half verse. If you can't read half verse, at least, read 1/4 verse. If you can't even do that, hear. So again, we can easily make, a simple effort. Going to YouTube, Facebook, there are so many devotees. They are regularly, reciting Srimad Bhagavatam and the lectures from the Acharyas. They're giving this reference. And this is also very important to hear. Now, sometimes people have this tendency. So, my Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, he also reminds us one important lesson. Now, what is that important lesson? So, again, coming from the Acharya, he says, attending the Srimad Bhagavatam is very important for all the devotees. He says that the devotees have a tendency to minimize the importance of Srimad Bhagavatam class. Often, they will only attend the class if it is given by a sannyasi or a guru. This is a very dangerous approach. Regardless of who the speaker is, Srimad Bhagavatam class must be attended by all. Now, when we pay attention to this instruction, it is very important that we should take Srimad Bhagavatam, Sravanam of Srimad Bhagavatam from any other person as well, provided the person is in disciplic succession. So, Srila Prabhupada reveals, yes, the person has to be minimum in disciplic succession, following the regulative principles, paying attention, right, doing regular Shravanam Kirtanam. If someone is doing that, then they get the potency. And to get this potency, the mercy of the Lordship, of course, when we get up, the most important thing what we do is, after getting ready for the day, we chant the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So even when we are chanting the holy name, the minimum 16 rounds. So 16 rounds daily, early morning is the minimum. So this minimum, there is no maximum. Like Srila Haridas Thakur, he was chanting 192 rounds. And that's why he is also known as Namacharya, because he knew the purport behind that chanting. Now we talked about this oral reception that can cure all these diseases which are not visible to our eyes, but is constantly tormenting us, right? The illusion that I am this body, this is the biggest illusion. That I am the head of the house, I am the manager, I am the CEO, I am the president. These are all upadhis with respect to the body. These are very dangerous positions. So how do we save ourselves from these dangerous positions? By hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, fearful state. People are fearful in this current times. There are various kind of tribulations going on. Currently, people are saying there is recession going on, the market financial crisis is going on, the jobs are, people are getting laid off from their jobs. There's going to be so much less demand of workers and so many things. Previously it was COVID. There will always be one after another. This material energy will always have an upper hand for the materialist perspective. She will always give one or the other fearful state. She will create that. And these financial analysts or doctors, sometimes, they spread the message to make people aware. But what happens to people? They become scared. So in this scared state, they are not able to prepare. The idea is that when we get this information, then we should prepare ourselves instead of getting scared. And then panic sets in. What happens? The crisis becomes real. That's what happened with COVID-19. We should be preparing, but many people were scared. And so they were in panic state, causing more havoc to themselves and others. And similarly, carelessness. That's another aspect. Sometimes people become careless. So what is important? What is solution is that we have to prepare ourselves. And this preparation simply comes by the chanting of the holy name. Aushadhi, medicine. This is the medicine. And we hear that in the beginning, people talk about jaundice. Like when a person has jaundice as a sickness, then everything looks yellow to the person, and the sweet candy that's given is even bitter. So in Nectar of Instruction, Srila Prabhupada translating Updeshamrit by Srila Rupa Goswami, the 11 verses, and there is one verse that talks about in the beginning the chanting of the holy name, the oral reception about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is very bitter for a materialistic mindset person who is thinking, I am this body, I am Lord of everything, I will gain more and I will defeat my enemies. This kind of mindset, having envious nature towards others, showing anger, lust, anger, greed, pride, envy, all these anarthas, they are filled with that, and so their vision is completely deluded, and they have to get rid of this jaundice. What are these jaundice? Anarthas. And these anarthas is what has been shown as jaundice. But in the beginning, it is very difficult for them to hear. Why is it very difficult? Because everything looks bitter. The reason we are in this material world is because we became envious of Krishna. We wanted to be the center of attraction. But Krishna in this Golok Vrindavan, in Vaikuntha Dham, he is the center of attraction. And so by becoming envious, we were sent to a place where we were given a perfect environment to practice this. How can we be the center? But then the only result of this center of attraction aspect, when we are putting ourselves in the center, it only leads to misery, because we become Godas. We become the slave of our senses. So there are 5 Gyanendriyas, 5 Karmendriyas, and we basically are using the Gyanendriyas, the knowledge acquiring senses, to satisfy these senses, not to satisfy Krishna, who is the master of the senses. But when we start hearing, even if it is bitter, even if we don't understand it, if we hear, it will have its effect. So the medicine of hearing, Shravatam, that will have its benefit. So when persons who are infected by the disease of material attachment, who suffer from the pangs of repeated birth and death, Jan Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Dukha Doshadu Darshanam. So what is the perception of true miseries in this world? They are given in 4 forms. Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi. Jan, birth, Mrityu, death, Jara, old age, and Vyadhi is disease. And this material consciousness that I am this body is the biggest disease that we have to get rid of. So such a person who is repeated in this cycle of birth and death, thinking that everything is for their own enjoyment and you sleep, be merry is the mantra of life, they cannot hear the glorification of Lord. But if by mercy of a devotee, by mercy of the Lord, such a person somehow continues to hear that just like a sugar candy, which is sweet in nature, is perfect medicine for a person in jaundice. In the beginning it's bitter, but the person in jaundice continues to take that sweet candy, continues to get the juice, the sweet juice, and finally it turns sweet to him. Similarly, by constantly hearing about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, our material consciousness goes away and Krishna consciousness comes in. Now the interesting thing is, all of the yoga process is a 2-step process. You do this, then you get that. But in Krishna consciousness, one simple step, serving Krishna, constantly hearing about Krishna, constantly meditating on Krishna, constantly serving the devotees and serving Krishna in the company of devotees automatically cleanses us of all the material contamination, all the diseases. Sadhu Sangha Bhajan Nivritti Anartha Nivritti Syat. So again, Adashada Tata Sadhu Sangha Bhajan Kriya Anartha Nivritti Syat. So just by the having firm faith that yes, I have to take this medicine as per the prescription, we in the association of devotees engage in bhajan kriya and all the anarthas are destroyed. That is part of the initial signs of devotional service. So Prabhupada's books are available by oral reception, which gives us, cures us, the blessing, and thus our jaundice of thinking I am this body goes away. And what is sets in? Understanding our true identity, Jivera Surupaya Krishnera Nityadas, that we are eternal servant of Lord Shri Krishna. So it is very important for us to constantly hear and focus on what is most important to become properly situated in our position. We see at work, if a person wants to become a manager, then the person, how does he behave? Does he behave like a very strong developer or whatever, that worker? No. He starts to understand the aspect that what manager position requires, and he starts to perform his work so well that he starts doing the work like a manager. So the manager is saying, wait a minute, I don't have to manage this person is completely self-independent and he's actually helping me manage others, so maybe I should become a senior manager and make this person a manager. And this very easily sets the person into the proper position. So similarly, by engaging in devotional service, keeping in a humble state of mind. So again, how do you chant the holy name? How do you read this? In a humble state of mind. Tranadapi shunichena tarurapi sahishuna amanina manadina kirtaniya sadahri. So Srimad Bhagavatam is where we have to read, we have to chant the holy name, yet at the same time, Tranadapi shunichena, we have to become more humble than the grass on the street. Tarurapi sahishuna, tarur, trees, become more sahishna, means again more tolerant than the trees. Amanina, not expecting other, to respect us, giving us like big accolades. Manadina, but ready to give all respect to others. And Samardarshina. So again, that is also very important, looking at it from that perspective. And we can do what? Kirtaniya Sadahari. We can constantly glorify the Lordship. So from this wonderful verse, we get to know. But there is another very important piece I want to bring to your attention. Srila Prabhupada in the translation, he says that by this oral reception, yes, anarthas are going, but how are they going away? Because of the feeling of loving devotion to Lord Krishna that is sprouting in our heart. So what is sprouting in our heart? Bhakti Lata Bij. Yes, you got it. A seed sprouts, and Bhakti Lata, the creeper of devotion, it continues to grow. And we have to do is just make sure that it gets the sunlight by proper recitation, proper oral reception of Srimad Bhagavatam, and watered through the chanting of the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. As we situate ourselves and properly get the blessing of the Lordship and understand that our true nature is to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all anarthas are automatically burned up. Yes. Apaha. Apaha means extinguishes. So that which extinguishes. What are extinguishes? Shravanam. It is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. So again, the first process itself is the most powerful process to set us up in that perfect position to be fearless, to see things as they are, not be in the dark but in pure sunlight. Krishna Surya Sama Maya He Andhakara. So material energy is like a night, it's andhakar. So we can't see things, that's why delusion sets in. But Krishna Surya Samaya, when sun is up, we can see everything very nicely. And finally, we become properly situated that Lord Krishna will protect us from all kind of difficulties, and we become fearless. In this regard, I am quickly covering a very short incident from Srila Prabhupada's life. One Srila Prabhupada, he was approached by a person, and the person is saying, I'm fearless. You're saying that devotees are fearless, I'm fearless, and I'm not a devotee. So in that particular case, Srila Prabhupada said, well, when the traffic light goes red, do you stop? He said, yes. Then you fear, because you fear that if you move ahead, then you will be hit by another car. And the person accepted. Now the interesting thing is, same thing could be said for the devotees as well. That when there is red light, do devotees stop on the red light? Yes, as a matter of duty, not because of fearfulness. So that is the difference. The person, and this has happened on multiple incidents where Srila Prabhupada gave the same example. But people who are fearful at heart, of course, they will be disturbed and they immediately accept it. Yet at the same time, a higher consciousness is that we are Samadarshina, we are loving everyone and we follow all rules and regulations. Devotees follow all rules and regulations and they abide by the regulations even imposed to the citizens by the government. And so they carry out in a fearless state. In a carefree state, they carry out all the rules and regulations very nicely. Not careless, carefree. Yet at the same time, being mindful of what we are doing at the present moment is very important. And finally, most important thing is Sravanatam Sa Katha Krishna Punya Shamana Kirtana Hridayantastoya Badrani Vidunoti Sahasatam. So by constantly hearing about Lord Shri Krishna, his name, form, activities, glory, his paraphernalia, of course all kind of anarthas are destroyed. That's what in this particular verse has been revealed as well, where we looked at Sravanam as a medicine and how Bhakti Lata Bij sprouts when we constantly take to the prescription, which is Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, regular reception of Srimad Bhagavatam, Gantra Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is wisdom from Srila Prabhupada's books, which provides us the cure to a very dangerous disease in our life. Hare Krishna, Gantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Bhagavad ki jai, Anant Koti Vaishnava Vind ki jai, Nitaya Go Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. Om Tat Sat.